You know how some subjects just feel locked away? Behind this, door of complicated symbols and really abstract rules. But what if the key to unlocking all that stuff wasn't some powerful new calculator, but just a really good story? Okay, I want you to do me a favor. Travel back in time with me for a second, back to high school math class. Do you remember staring at the board, seeing things called notable cases or special products, and just feeling that little bit of dread creep in? Yeah, for a lot of us, this is what math looked like, right? A string of letters and numbers. And look, it's correct, it's totally precise, but let's be honest here. It's not exactly inviting. It feels more like a rule you just have to memorize, not an idea you can actually get your head around. Now here's where things get really cool. What if we just changed our perspective? The brilliant CSI Matematica channel on YouTube did exactly that. They looked at this formula not as a problem to solve, but as a story to tell. And it begins just like all the best stories do. Once upon a time, and our first character? The lovely Princess Bai. And of course, it wasn't long before she met the charming Prince Nomial. So we have Princess B and Prince Nomial. See where this is going. Well, they fell in love and came together to form a perfect union, a binomial. And they moved into this magnificent new home, a grand squared house. Now, living in this squared house, well, it had a pretty interesting effect on them. Over time, both the princess and the prince were squared, each of them becoming a kind of grander version of themselves. And then their family grew. They had 2 children. And you know how it goes. One was the spitting image of their mother, and the other looked just like their father. And just like that, their family was complete. It's a cute story, right? But here's the thing. It's not just a story. It's a perfect illustration of the entire formula. Every single character, every little plot point, it all has a direct mathematical meaning. Okay, so let's decode the magic. It all lines up so perfectly. Princess B, she's our A. Prince Nomial, he's B. Their union in that squared house is literally A plus B squared. When the princess was squared, we get A squared. The prince squared gives us B squared. And their 2 children, one of each, that's 2 times A times B, or 2AB. The entire story just spells out the formula. It's fantastic. Seriously, what an incredible piece of creative teaching. This all comes from Sergio Machado's channel, CSI Matematica. It's just the perfect reminder that creativity isn't just for art class. It's an amazingly powerful tool for understanding logic and science, too. But this is way more than just a clever little memory trick. There's a really deep educational principle at work here, and it's actually backed up by pedagogical research, like studies from Portugal's Directorate General for Education, the DGE. This quote from a DGE publication really gets to the heart of it all. The point of teaching math isn't just about getting the right answer on a test. It's about building the mental muscles we need for reasoning. And you know what? Stories are one of the best gyms for the mind. So why is this so darn effective? Well, it turns out our brains are just wired for narrative. Stories take abstract symbols, like A and B, and they connect them to concrete ideas we get, like a princess and a prince. They pull on our emotions, which basically supercharges our memory. An approach like this lowers the anxiety that so often comes with math, right? And it helps build a real intuitive understanding instead of just forcing you to memorize rules. And honestly, it's just way more fun. So, when you boil it all down, what's the big takeaway here? It's actually pretty simple, but it's also incredibly profound. It's that the how is just as important as the what. The method, the approach we use to learn something, can completely transform our relationship with it. It can take a cold, intimidating formula and turn it into this charming, unforgettable fairy tale. It proves that with the right story, with the right approach, pretty much nothing is too complex to understand. And that kind of leaves us with one last question to chew on. This worked for algebra, but what else could it work for? What other complicated, maybe even intimidating problem in your work or in your life is just sitting there, waiting for the right story to make it all click?